Last time I played Halo, I was informed by my audience that I had been playing with impaired vision, so I put it up to a poll as to whether or not I should fix that issue. You overwhelmingly voted yes, idiot, and as I am a puppet to the whims of the masses, here we are. Now I understand the title of the last video was vague at best, so let me quickly clear it up. I'm playing on the developer's intended difficulty, and I'm not doing sequence breaks. If you don't like the rules, be sure to tell me in the comments section like you did last time. But this is how I'm playing. The Chief, having returned home from a successful campaign on Halo, is rewarded for his valiant efforts against the Covenant. The commander of a Covenant fleet, upon whom we deftly whipped even Nenade, receives a similar treatment upon his return home from Halo. After both war heroes receive their accolades, the Covenant sends a fleet to attack Earth. Shockingly, the Covenant doesn't expect Earthlings to be on Earth, and sends only a small fleet to complete their objective. With the Covenant having boarded the space station, the Master Chief takes it upon himself to repel them, and does so with the utmost efficiency. After driving the Covenant off the station, the Chief finds that they accidentally forgot their purple coffee table, and decides to return it to them personally. Upon entering Earth's atmosphere, Commander Keyes sends ground forces to drive the Covenant out of the city. After landing exactly as planned, we encounter everyone's favorite nightmare, Jackal Snipers. These wonderful creatures that Bungie made to spark joy in all its fans have infested this city, and their only goal is to make your life miserable. Now you could say this is an exaggeration, especially since we're not even playing on Legendary. But when you walk into a room and die 30 seconds later because a Jackal Sniper that blends into the background 50 miles away immediately 360 no-scoped you, the idea of playing on a harder difficulty should put an intense fear into your heart. After dealing with all the Jackal Snipers, my other favorite enemy in Halo 2 appears. Buggers. Buggers fly around erratically and are incredibly difficult to hit, and while they have low health, they typically come in swarms, easily overwhelming you if you aren't prepared. With the buggers swatted out of the sky like the insignificant insects they are, even more reinforcements arrive into the courtyard, including 2 hunters, who are considerably harder to kill than in Halo 1. When the carnage and chaos subsides, a pelican comes to bring us a warthog, but oops, it can't fit in the courtyard, so it's time to fight some more open ground. Finally, the way is cleared and a warthog is finally ours. Unfortunately, UNSC engineers downgraded it during the week-long gap between Halo 1 and 2, and so the machine is no longer invincible. This doesn't stop me from booking it to the nearest highway to race the Covenant. But they have faster cars than me, so I kill them and cover up the evidence. Before I can escape, Sergeant Johnson shows up to regale us with his military exploits from the Stone Age, and before he leaves he gives me an even slower car for some reason, which I promptly ignore. Getting back into my much speedier vehicle makes getting past this bridge and into the tunnels beyond quite trivial. Upon reaching the Covenant dug-in at the end of the tunnels, I use my Marine backup as bait to pick off the invisible elites and Jackal Snipers, leaving the rest of the aliens confused as to how I already knew their exact positions. After exiting the tunnels, it's time for even more Jackal Snipers, taking positions all over a wide open area. Fortunately, I had a sniper rifle of my own that I borrowed from their supplies and picked off the enemy snipers one by one. Exiting the clearing, I arrive at the most dense part of the city, which is under attack by wraiths. I easily dispatch them and am immediately greeted by their big brother, a Scarab. Without any other options left, I scale the nearest skyscraper to board it. After blowing up every enemy on the deck, I proceed inside to slaughter any survivors and chase their friends off Earth. While the battle rages on Earth, the Prophets give the elite in charge of the fleet at Halo a chance at redemption, making him the Arbiter. His first assignment is to expel heretics from life for daring to defy the Holy Space Catholic Church. Upon arriving at the hole in the ground in the sky they're hiding in, my backup decides to hide while I do all the work. After plowing through the heretics, I open the door to the hangar inside to get more backup, as if they were going to do anything. With the clods inside, I push further into the mining facility without much issue. Upon reaching yet another hangar, the only way to pursue space-thin logging is via flight. I blast the other Banshees out of the sky and land to continue the pursuit of the heretic leader on foot. Not long after disembarking from the Banshee, the heretic leader uses his witchcraft to create an illusion to scare us away, which has the unfortunate side effect of spawning eldritch horrors to attack me. Further into the facility, the Flood and heretics are destroying each other, making my job of eradicating them all that much easier. The space terrorists are also being assisted by Sentinels, helping them destroy both the Flood and our righteous soldiers sent to preserve peace and prosperity. An elevator takes me deeper into the mining facility, with both eldritch and man-made horrors harassing me from all sides. Fortunately, the energy sword is quite efficient at taking out the Flood, using up very little of its AA battery life. Using it alongside a plasma rifle for the Sentinels and a carbine for the heretics makes quick work of the scum trying to stop my holy mission. When I finally find the heretic leader, he's locked himself in his room to play some video game until I leave him alone. But that game sucks, so I've decided to blow up his house and force him out. I chase after him as he tries to escape, and he stops to take a stand against me for ruining game night. He uses his magic clones to deceive, trick, and confuse me as he hides in the corner and snipes me from across the room. Fortunately, I have many lives, and he only has one. And on the 23rd, I killed him. Jumping back to Master Chief after following the Covenant through slip space, we find yet another Halo, and the Covenant seems dead set on activating it. Commander Key sends a strike team to do something, probably, while I kill as many Covenant soldiers on the surface as humanly possible. After depopulating the ruins around the drop zone, I move on to some other ruins to do some more culling. After activating a bridge to some more ruins, which similarly have some life to wipe out, the way is blocked by 2 Covenant wraiths. I was offered a Scorpion, but didn't realize where it was at first. Cortana made a snarky comment about me not taking the tank, so obviously I couldn't go back for it. I spent about 15 minutes trying to destroy the wraiths on foot. I steal one and use it to obliterate all life in the area until the thing is held together by nothing but hopes and dreams, and I abandon it to die cold and alone in the wilderness of this alien tire. More Covenant try to take advantage of me losing the giant gun that blows things up, which was their mistake, because I end their lives all the same. After emptying some more ruins of some very fancy-looking corpses, I find a TV with a televangelist on it, telling people about some great journey, which I immediately set out to end, along with the alien's life. After dedicating myself to my quest, I find a nice balcony on the other side of the ruins and decide to clear the view of all the waste. While doing so, the waste decides it doesn't want to be cleared, and brings in some heavy hitters. But they don't hit heavy enough, and I move on to the strange-looking boat that takes me to the next set of ruins and take pot shots at yet another passing boat. There are jackal snipers and turrets posted outside the ruins, but I take them out from the boat before they notice me. When the boat docks, I immediately leap into action, obliterating every enemy on the floor and take the elevator to the next section. Upon exiting the elevator, I'm greeted with a long empty hallway full of grunts, or as I like to call it, a firing range. After pillaging the targets for my prizes, I move on and find a large open room with the televangelist on widescreen. The surrounding people seem to be really interested in his sermon, which makes it quite easy to obliterate them all while they're distracted. Unfortunately, after I get rid of most of the aliens, some buggers and hunters decide that I must pay for my terrorism, so I kill them too. After that debacle, the next room appears to have been flooded by some invisible men, so I make them pay for their crimes against plumbing. The next elevator takes me back to dry land, where I find some free guns some idiot just left lying around. While systematically dismantling the Covenant presence around the rest of the ruins, I find yet another boat and take it to the TV studio where the televangelist is broadcasting from, where I proceed to beat him to death in front of his live studio audience. After the execution, the Covenant decides to obliterate the surface in an attempt to kill me for ruining their favorite TV show, so I dive into the water to make my escape, where an octopus decides I look like a tasty snack. After the death of one of their glorious leaders, the Covenant responds with racism, by stripping the ranks away from every elite possible, giving those jobs to their obviously much more competent counterparts, the Brutes. Since this obviously won't cause any racial tensions between the two, the remaining hierarchs send a group strike force made up of brutes and elites, led by the Arbiter, to retrieve a sacred artifact from the depths of Halo. After taking about 10 minutes trying to figure out how to operate the doors, I descend into the library, only to be greeted by some angry sentinels. I find a large open room guarded by a giant sentinel, which doesn't intend to let me pass. Unfortunately for the machine, that was never an option. After activating the elevator, the brutes follow us via the air until they're attacked by yet another large sentinel, stopping the elevator. Blood come pouring out, trying to kill anything in sight, which I do in return to them. The elevator shows no signs of moving again, so I move into the nearby catacombs littered with corpses to move forward. Flood and sentinels are everywhere, forcing me to move slowly through the hallways. Upon coming to an opening, I use stealth to sneak past as many hostiles as possible. After careful navigation, I find the brutes' ship fighting more Flood, so I assist them and move on through the facility, coming to a snowy area where the elites are holding off the Flood. I assist them as well when their commander informs me of where the sacred icon is located, and I move in to collect it. Soon after departure, I stumble across an active war zone and discover that the Flood has finally gotten its driver's license. To reward it, I kill one and steal its car. From this point onward, it's Grand Theft Auto, taking whatever vehicles I can get my hands on to progress. Flood and Sentinels are swarming Halo, causing mass destruction in their wake, so I contribute to the destruction by blowing them all up. I have to ditch my rides occasionally to make it through enclosed areas, but fortunately for me, the Flood always deliver a new one right outside. After not-so-careful navigation of the battlefield, I find the path right to the icon, which the Flood aren't very happy about. They stop at almost nothing to halt my approach. Fortunately, they do stop once they're dead. Upon arrival at the icon's temple, I find that the humans have beat us to it. The brutes, none too happy about our slow arrival, kidnap the humans and attempt to dispose of me in the world's largest garbage chute. Unfortunately for them, I'm not so easily disposed of. The Flood, however, seems to have taken notice. Master Chief and the Arbiter finally meet, with the Flood's hive intelligence acting as the mediator. Acting out of interest for its own self-preservation, it sends the Master Chief and Arbiter to 2 locations where the key to Halo is likely being held. Master Chief is dropped right into High Charity, the Covenant capital, crashing the Prophet's party. None too happy about the party pooper, the Prophets call their guards to have me executed on the spot. Now, while making this video, my roommate warned me about a few stages that he refers to as the Hard 4. In Halo 1, the stages 2 Betrayals and the Library on Legendary difficulty are part of this quadrology. Now, the Library didn't apply, as I'm playing this game for fun and have other videos planned that will cause suffering for your amusement. In Halo 3, he said the stage Cortana was quite difficult, but since I've never played Halo 3, I can only assume she's the final boss. But the stage that is important in this instance is Gravemind. And I think just showing you the stage will do all the talking for me. After plenty of trial, error, and Spartan corpses, I figure out how to overcome the waves of enemies that come pouring out of every hole, including a new enemy. The brutes have replaced the Hierarch's old honor guard, and are fittingly obnoxious to kill. They don't have shields, but they do have lots of health, and will charge at you violently upon their health getting too low. These bolts with thumbs are a lot of trouble, and they're crawling all over High Charity, making progress a slow but grueling process. I have to move in and out of High Charity, slaughtering any and all aliens that try to impede my path. Nearing the exit, Cortana informs me of a prison where Marines are being held. Being the good Samaritan I am, I go to rescue them because the game forced me to. The Covenant aren't too happy about me freeing their free labor, so they send reinforcements to the prisons. However, they can't reinforce what's already been destroyed, and they can't reinforce anything because I killed them already. Using the freed prisoners as backup, I continue to move through the city, killing everything in my path. Eventually, I reach the Prophets, where they take Commander Keyes and Sergeant Johnson with them to Halo's control room. Before they can leave, the Flood decides to snack on one of them, and the other thinks it's too much of a hassle to help, so he continues on to finish his holy mission. The Arbiter, also sent to retrieve the sacred icon, finds himself right in the middle of a war zone, one with unexpected participants. The elites are being culled by the brutes, who have decided they're no longer worthy of breathing the same air as them. Being a bit too fond of breathing to give it up, I start systematically dismantling all the brutes in the area. After the carnage slows down, some friendlies find me and offer to lend me their assistance. Moving inside the mountains, I continue to single-handedly win the race war, using explosives I stole from brute corpses to make it go a bit faster. Finding and keeping explosives while fighting brutes is almost never an issue, because they carry far more than they can ever use. The ones who can't be killed with explosives can be killed with good old-fashioned rifles or energy swords. Explosives come in especially handy in a large vertical room with a few platforms below me. Normally, I'd have to jump down and hope for the best to kill them, but with bombs I can thin out their numbers to the point where it's just one injured brute, who doesn't know how to hide, and I can take him out with my gun. Eventually, I find a car to steal and use it to plow through all the enemies in my way. Or rather, I would, if every enemy and their stepmom didn't have enough explosives to single-handedly blow me and my team off the map. The car is clearly a trap, so I use careful placement of explosives and sniper shots to pick off all the threats that matter before moving on. I use the car to traverse the now barren river and come to a fort where brutes seem to be keeping human weapons as trophies. Letting them collect dust on a shelf seems like a waste, so I use them in a much more meaningful way. When another wraith comes my way, I'm about to send it to Kingdom Come when the elite commander pops out of the hatch and asks for my help in retrieving the icon. As Tartarus, the leader of the brutes, takes his human prisoners to activate Halo. As Master Chief closes in on the remaining Prophet, he notices that the Flood have started to overrun the Covenant city. He and Cortana make a plan to stop the Flood, Covenant, and prevent Halo from activating, and quickly spring into action. Cortana stays behind to blow up the ship they rode in on in case Plan A fails, while Master Chief moves to intercept the Prophet, moving to escape Halo. Moving back inside the city, Flood and Covenant have come out in full force to kill each other, and I'm caught right in the crossfire. The hollow spaces of this city make for an easy battleground, especially with the flying buggers having plenty of room to maneuver, as well as nothing in between them to keep me from blasting them out of the sky. Further in, the Flood appears to have eaten whatever cord was powering the lights, giving them a shroud of darkness to travel in. Although the Flood couldn't predict I have power as a gamer that they cannot combat. Turning up the gamma slider. This doesn't help much, but it keeps me from completely losing my sanity by shooting blindly in the dark at invisible enemies. Eventually, I find the path to the ship that the Prophet was fleeing on, and continue my chase back to Earth. With the help of the elites now secured, the race war can finally begin in full. Tartarus has locked himself in Halo's control room, so I decide to steal the nearest giant explosive key to pursue him. It's a bit too high up to get from the ground though, so I move inside the brute fort to get some high ground. The brutes, unprepared for this invasion, are rapidly dispatched, making stealing their scarab easy. While in the fort, I freed quite a few of their prisoners, including the human Sergeant Johnson, who offers to drive the scarab to a nice and easy spot to blow open a massive hole in the control room. This is where things get tough. You have to act as air support for Johnson, following him to the strike zone, and while the road is very short and narrow, it's littered with enemies that can blast you out of the sky faster than you can react. It took a good half hour of attempts just to make it to the control room once. I decided that since I had gone through so much trouble to get this Banshee to the control room, I might as well take it with me. So I spent another 10 minutes forcing it through the wreckage, which it was entirely intended to go through. The next room was full of brutes carrying bombs, however, so I was immediately blasted to the next dimension, instead opting for a much more stealthy and nuanced strategy. I hid in the hallway underneath the brutes and killed them as they ran at me one by one. With the explosive threat neutralized, I went back and got the Banshee for the fight with Tartarus. Forgetting I had the Banshee immediately, I spent the next half hour fighting Tartarus on foot without even knowing how the boss fight worked. Sergeant Johnson, in all his brilliance, explained how to damage Tartarus on my 15th attempt, which I then proceeded to beat him on the first try, stopping him from activating Halo. This video took way too long to make, due yet again to my own procrastination. I'm going to make an easier video next month, so look forward to that. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy watching me suffer through games that most people would find easy. Also, special thanks to the Second Redwood for helping me edit both this script and the script for Halo 1. She's been a massive help, and you should check out her channel that I've linked in the description.